We'll handle it. Don't worry. We've got it covered and we are live.
Yay!
We are live. Yes, this show is called... I'm going to go straight into it, and this should maybe explain.
PHTV.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday, I sent Mik a WhatsApp message and went, "Oh shit! I forgot about DHTV." And he's like, "Ah."
Yeah, I earlier in the week, early last weekend, I said, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit shit at the minute because the pain's getting a bit much. Could you think of something to talk about?" And of course, that was a bit unfair because poor old Zec's in pain like this all the while. So brain fog set in.
I'm still busy studying. I did have a flare up because I'd sat for a long while through something. 3 hours I sat in my wheelchair, which is a long time for this old boy. When you're sitting still, especially, it's hard. And I couldn't park outside, even though they said I could. So I had to park down the road. And when I got there, that person had gone. And so I was out.
I hate when that happens. When you see someone you're meant to park and it's full up, you're like, "Oh,
I drove past twice.
For God's sake."
I kept doing U-turns. It's people that are parked down the fucking road. And I get there and I'm like, oh, that's great. So anyway, I've been a bit flary. Then it was Mrs. Richardson's 50th birthday.
Oh,
I'm sleeping with a 50-year-old woman now. Well, I've slept next to her. I'm not sleeping with her. I'm not feeling well enough. But there you go. That's another story. And then she went away on
That's more information than we usually share.
The next day, she abandoned me. She went on a spa break with her mother for the weekend. And my daughter was here to look after me, but she went out to the pub with her friends. And I thought, I can put the dogs away. And just over there, behind here, you can't see. I can do that. 3 steps. I can do that. I've got a dog. I'm fine. And the other dog gets... And I ended up laying down there, and there's my camera set up for my review. So I'm trying to dismantle a tripod and everything so I can get out. And I haven't got my phone on me. So it's been going very, very well. And then my daughter messages to say, "Oh, no, I think I might have COVID." Thanks. I sat next to you at the meal. I should have said, "Oh, darling." But I went...
Yes, thank you very much, darling. You're so poorly. But thanks. I must admit, I'm in the... saying, "Oh, Avril saying, why can't I hear you? Have I lost my hearing and my voice?" I don't know. Hello, everybody. Everyone that's watching, hello. Yeah, I've had the same. I'm currently in the house on my own, as my wife has discovered that not being in the house with me while I'm ill is actually the best thing she can do. So
can I say I agree? I've only been online with Mik for 15 minutes. Right, listen. Forget the Grumpy Kids. This, I mean, most watch Grumpy Kids here. He thought he had an Amazon parcel, and he went out his doors. I could still hear him. He won't have to. He won't have to contact Amazon because I think they heard his swearing.
No, see, all weekend, because it's my wife's birthday next week.
Yeah, and we're both Leos. They're both Libras. I was going to say Zebras.
My wife is 51 this year, so she's 50 now. Ooh. And so because I can't go out at the minute, I ordered online, availing myself of the wonderful online ordering thing. And both of the things that I ordered have come from Amazon, and both have said they've been delivered, and they haven't. So someone has either pinched my presents, or Amazon, as usual, have dumped them somewhere in a block of flats that is made up of 177 flats. So somewhere in this part of Camden,
you're in the proximity of 177. Oh God! Yeah.
Yes, and with no garden, which we were discussing before we went. So I've not been well. I cannot go outside. I haven't been outside properly since August the 14th. And
which is a shame because I think your parcels are outside.
Yeah, exactly. They're somewhere in Camden somewhere. Oh dear. But yeah,
we started talking about gardens. Then Mik's half watching a gardening show where they're doing a garden for a young disabled child.
Yes.
And off he went again. I mean, let's just say the pain's got the better of Mik, and I know why Diane's not there.
This is a bugbear of mine. See, I've been moaning about this for many years. I've been watching DIY SOS and all of those gardening shows. Like today, it was Love Your Garden.
Ooh.
And never once have I seen a disabled expert designer, gardener, no one. We have disabled gardening. We've got the wonderful Mark that's on in the daytime. I love him. Think he's brilliant, right? There's other gardeners. There's someone on Channel 4. We've got disabled gardeners. Do we ever see them working on these shows? No. Do we see architects? No. Do we see people like me? No. And I wrote...
Well, no, you don't go out.
But no, this is when I could go out. I wrote to DIY SOS very difficult to remember that I'm working on a show called DHTV and it's DIY SOS.
That's the Nick Knowles one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And I said, well, why don't you get like, did you hear the story about the guy that they went in and they put a lift in his house? And he was like, oh, yeah, great, brilliant. Now I can go up and see my kids' bedrooms. And then about a week after they left, it broke down with him upstairs. So all his adapted stuff was downstairs and he was trapped upstairs. And it's like, this is why you don't put lifts in houses. You adapt them and build and extend them or move to somewhere with a majority of one level when you are on wheels, because that makes sense. But what they do on all these shows is they lay a garden. It's all lovely. And
before we move on to gardens, can I ask a lift question? I've never used a lift in a home. Is there not a default setting where if you're on the top floor and the power goes or whatever, you get in and it lowers down?
You would think so. And to be honest, I don't know. Depending on what kind of lift you've got, there should be. Because if you've got a pneumatic lift, then you should be able to let the pneumatic, the oil out and it goes and lets you down. I mean,
let him down.
What I've got at the minute is the issue where I'm in on the first floor in a block where it used to be stay put was the advice in case of fire.
Yes.
But because now they've discovered flammable cladding on our block, they've now said, get out quick. And I said, well, what about me? And they went, and I'm now left in the position where not only can I not get out of the house when it's nice weather and we're not on fire, but I can actually be stuck in the house when it's on fire too. So that's nice.
Can I just say, happy birthday,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mark. Happy birthday to you.
My family know I hate that song. I hate it with a vengeance because we're going to have another moment. It was good morning to you. But now it's happy birthday. Everybody's turned it into a funeral march. Happy birthday. As the cake goes in, and I'm like, stop! And I refuse to sing it to anyone.
I'm sorry, but I never do. I turn it in to a happy birthday to you. It's out. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's in a major key, not happy birthday.
Anyway, back to the evacuation plan for Mick. Can I just say, it's easy to get out of a flat from upstairs. You may not survive, but just open your window and you're out, right? Look, if you don't want to burn, just jump.
Diane, you see, said that what we'll do is we'll throw the duvet out, the mattress out, and then you jump on it. And I said, yes, but the mattress won't fit through the door. So while we're trying to roll the mattress up to throw it out the window,
you're trapped.
Especially because the cladding's on the outside, so therefore the building.
I know. There must be someone somewhere that's invented a wheelchair that goes up and down stairs.
That's what we need, isn't it?
That's what we need.
No, what we need is better housing. Getting back to what I was saying. So, in all of these shows, they have non-disabled experts tell everyone what they need. And tonight, yet again, I watched Alan Titchmarsh and his general bods of gardening.
Alan Titchmarsh,
apparently one of the older woman's sexual fantasies. There you go, it says something about older women. Anyway, he and his team designed a garden for a family with a little girl that had trouble walking. She was quite little, so she's probably no more about 3, 4, 5, maybe little. And she walked with a walking frame, right? And they used compacted gravel.
It's like a weird stuff. It's kind of like almost a buff colour that they out, and they use it on all these shows.
Yeah. Right, and they go, oh, it's accessible. It's good for wheelchairs. And it's like, no, it's not. Right? Unless it's been compacted with resin, so it's fixed, what will happen over time is it will loosen. So these are rubbish. It's rubbish. And it's on everything. And it's really annoying because it's a load of non-disabled people, yet again, telling us what we need, what's good for us. And I said to DIY SOS, you really start to need to get people like me on, have a stable of disabled people that come on and help you with the accessibility.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I did a screen test, did all that stuff, met with everybody, nothing. Because at the end of the day, it ruins the message, doesn't it? Oh, look, we're rushing to save the poor cripple who is trapped in their horrible home. Da, da, da. And then all of a sudden another one turns up and he's part of the team and it's like, oh.
People in the comments here are talking about you getting out your building, and I've just had an idea. What about a snow sledge, and Diane just puts you to the top of the stairs and just pushes you down, and then picks you up at the next step?
When I was a kid, we used to live in a house. Before I was 5, and we left to live in a bungalow. We lived in a house, and me and my brother used to get a breakfast tray, like a metal breakfast tray, and slide down the stairs on a tea tray. And we had like a bit like your glass front door. We have a glass front door at the front.
No one's got a glass front door like mine.
20 meters away from the front door. We did it hour after hour after hour, and my mum never said anything. And it's one of those things about health and safety wasn't like it is now.
Well, I remember when I was in Wales.
Correct. That could be a way of doing it. The problem is, I don't want to leave my £5,000 wheelchair and have to crawl out of my block that's burning. So it's fine. It's one of the things again. But what you need, I used to live in a Habinteg block, right? Which we talked about last week. We talked about Habinteg, habitation and integration, the housing association that builds accessible homes. And they, on the first floor, used to have a giant ramp that you could get out of your building. So the whole
a helter-skelter.
Yeah, it was very much like it was like a lovely long ramp, and you just come out and go down. And it meant that if the lift broke, you could still get into your flat. It was really clever, but we don't have that now. So
talking of the trays, you just reminded me of when I lived in Wales. Obviously, I wasn't disabled till I was in Wales. But in Wales, boy, my nan had a hotel up near Fairbourne, right up, and there was all the slopes of slate that were discarded mining. And I used to take her silver tray and go to the top of these slopes, and she never did figure out why it was all scratched.
It's funny because it's funny the things we used to do. It's funny because I've got the telly on and I'm seeing at the corner of my eye the marathon. And
I did that. I'm back. I saw Dan. I ran past him. I was like, fucking slow bastard.
Yeah, I now work for a charity, and everyone at the charity was going, "Oh, next year, Mick, you could do it." I remember years ago, Tanny, when we worked on the show together, she used to say, because I used to be in television. Tanny used to say to me, "Oh, you should do it. You'd be great. You've got the right physique." And I was like, if I want to go 26 miles, I'll get in my car. And that is the truth of it. It's never held any interest. There are other things I'd like to do.
I always wanted to. I could run 15 miles, no problem. It was something I did for fun. I'm going to go for a run. First 2 miles, I hated it. And then I was fucking off. But I never did it. And I kind of regret that I never did it now. Because you always regret things too late. Now I'm like, yeah, I should do that.
What's Mark said? Mark said the argument could be made, why should people leave their homes when they can be made accessible? It is true. I do agree. But the thing is, all the people I know who have had their house made accessible, because this is the argument, there's accessible homes and homes that can be made accessible. And that's a slight difference in sort of the terminology of how builders build things. And the problem is that it becomes like, where do you stop? So, for example, my house was meant to be one of them ones that could be made accessible if you needed it. I got a flat that wasn't meant to be a disabled flat, and then, it is now. So the doors are 80 centimetres wide, but they're meant to be a metre for a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Now, that means all the doors got to be knocked out, but that would mean that the cupboards don't work. That would mean that some of the doors wouldn't fit in the space that there is for the door frame. So then you're thinking about, well, that case, do we brick that up and move that? And it becomes this never-ending.
Some houses can't be made accessible. It's just not ever going to happen, unfortunately.
And what happens is as well is that, and this is like something else we might talk about, he says, having done a bit of news searching, because we're going to go for a kind of loose women approach. But unfortunately, I couldn't find any fluffy stories. So
neither of us are feeling very loose.
Yeah. But one of the big ones, poor old Sarah Jane Kennedy is having a terrible time. She couldn't hear us. Now she can't see anyone's comments. It's basically technology yet again. But
some people are on YouTube. Some people are on Facebook. Some are on the other Facebook page. So there's comments coming into us that we can see all in one go, but they are from Disability Horizons, DHTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
So look at that. So because now Avril has asked, do you know why? Do I know why what?
Why what? But comments, right? I just answered it. Maybe there is a slight delay.
Yeah. But I think that one of the and this is why it's part of this thing about when someone becomes disabled, there's this desire to stay in their home. But I do wonder if it makes more sense for your.
It's possible the Queen managed it.
With your rehabilitation, it might make more sense to move somewhere that suits you better.
Well, she did better moral.
But I suppose the thing is, I'm a kind of cold sod, and I don't ever feel any ties to wherever I live. It's just somewhere I live. So, you know, I wouldn't be like, oh, I remember when little Johnny did his first steps there or something like that. So
I'd have loved that. I would have loved a home where my daughters grew up and we stayed there. But we've moved 14 times. I mean, I'm basically a traveller. So you saw my front. You saw my front door, didn't you? You saw my front door. I live outdoors.
Buy yourself a great big mobile home, adapt it, and then you can go. You can be like the littlest hobo. You can be the biggest hobo and be on the road all the while.
In a wheelchair, I can't do driveways.
Be great. Be brilliant. Yeah, drive into public bits of land and just put all up tents and have dogs on strings, listening to repetitive beats. It'd be great. be like the 80s all over again with the crusty rave scene.
What's your opinion about staying in when it's accessible or going out? Sorry, Scott. What's your opinion about staying in when it's accessible or going out? Huh? My brain is so not working.
I think the thing is that comments are quite difficult to work out when you don't know the full conversation.
No, because they're flowing.
I suppose one of the things about, and this is actually, I think, another thing that people don't appreciate about being disabled, is that for us, it's a huge choice. I'm in my lovely accessible home where my toilet is fine, where all the stuff I can need is lovely. And then someone says, oh, we're going to a party. And you go, oh, I'd love to come. And then you go, hang on a minute. Could you ask, has it got any steps? Is there a toilet down the downstairs? Do they mind if I crawl upstairs if I can? All this kind of stuff.
Well, we kind of had this Friday evening. We went out for a meal at a local pub. And I phoned them up the night before. I said, is it accessible? Yes, it's accessible. I said, no, I'm not talking just there are no steps. Is it fully wheelchair accessible? Am I going to have any problems? No problems at all. So we went there, lovely. The tables were about 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet, and the legs were like that, this cross section. So I couldn't. It wasn't like legs at one end and legs at the other. So I'm eating my dinner. Luckily, I've got long arms because my dinner's 2 foot.
Got long arms with a shirt you don't mind washing.
Yeah. And so I couldn't actually get into this table. I'm sat right back. So to me, no, that's not. They sat us there. They knew I was coming. There were other tables that were accessible. Yes. But by the time we got there, everybody sat down. It's all set up. And
yeah, this is the big one. We get this. I'll tell you what. I mean, how often has this happened to all of us? I remember once booking a holiday flat in Cornwall because we were going down to see my wife's family, Diane's family, that now live. A lot of them now live in Cornwall. So we drive. It's a marathon drive, and we arrive, and there are 3 steps up to it. And so I rang the bloke, and he went, "Well, once you get in its flat."
Cornwall is famously flat.
That was a week of saying, "Do I go out or do I stay in?"
Yeah.
Because once we got out, it was. But the best one was we went again Cornwall. We went to stay in a very posh golfing hotel because my Di's stepdad Neil loves golf, and so we were going to stay there so we could go and play on the green, and it was going to be lovely. And we were going to have a spa weekend, so we drove, and it took 8 hours to get there. And when we arrived, all of the ramps were at a 45-degree angle on the stairs. They just put a piece of wood over the staircase.
No.
And we got shown room after room after room, and none of them were accessible. And in the end, they went, well, there is one room that's accessible. but we've let that out to someone that likes the view out the window.
Oh, well,
So
yeah.
I said, well, tough bananas, I'm having it. And then we got in there and discovered that the accessible bathroom was in a corridor
that you can't turn.
So it was a very narrow, long toilet, and basically they put a handrail down for the shower that was at the end of this corridor that couldn't be lifted. So to get
to the toilet,
the shower seat, you had to pole vault over the handrail. So after an 8-hour drive, and another 3 hours looking at every hotel room they had that wasn't accessible, we finally stayed in one. We were meant to be there for 3 days. We couldn't do it. We said, I'm off. I'm going tomorrow. Because this is bollocks. And the best bit was then we went to where the spa is, and that was up a flight of steps. And they said there is no access anywhere else. And then I said, what about the swimming pool? And I said, oh, you can go swimming, but to get to it and from it, you have to go through the dining hall.
Oh, no, I went on a spa 7 years ago.
I hope you're enjoying your lunch. Hello. Yes, no. I am a semi-naked cripple. Hello, lovely to meet you.
7 years ago, we went on a spa. Was it accessible? Yes, here's an accessible room you can get in. There was no frames around the toilet. There was a bath, no sheet. But when we got to the swimming pool, it was down steps, through the changing rooms and in. And I'm like, no, you can get to it. Go outside, knock. The guy there will open the door. That was lovely. And I'm in the pool and I'm in the hot tub and it's warm. And then it's pissing with rain and freezing cold, and I had to go outside and back round. And also, many years ago, my uncle's, I think it was his 70th, and I think he's in his 80s, maybe 80 now. They know I'm in a wheelchair. The whole family were there to celebrate. They come from all over the country. It was over at the airport. It's all right. There's a step to get in, but don't worry because it's all covered outside and everyone's going to be out there. So I get there and everyone's out there, but it's freezing cold. And then they're like, we're going to make a toast. And everybody just piled inside. Forget the fact I needed a piss for the last 2 hours. Everyone went inside and I'm outside. So.
This is it. This is the whole problem with everything, isn't it? Is that, I'm always shocked. And Diane's like, you got to understand, they don't get it. The number of my friends that put on events that I'm invited to that I can't get into. Yeah. And I'm like, I know you feel bad. You think, I won't invite him. I'll invite him because it'd be bad not to. But it's actually worse to say, would you like to come to the thing you can't come to? Please come, Mick. We'd love to see you if you can levitate and not go to the toilet for 6 hours.
It's at the top of Ben Nevis.
Yeah. To be honest, the top of Ben Nevis, I'd be better. I'd actually go, do you know what? That's all right. Ben Nevis, get it, lovely. It's the ones where they go, it's in a pub. It's only up a few steps. Oh no, there isn't a toilet. Oh, and you can't get to the bar and the dance floor. It's like, so yes.
Anyway, let's get on a lighter note. Now, there's no secret. I've announced before my I like Strictly Come Dancing. I never used to. My wife used to watch it in another room, and then when it went HD, I said, look, it's not fair watching it on that. Come in. And I took interest. Are we allowed to say this nowadays? Women's bottoms. I took interest in my father brought me up scoring women's bottoms as we drove past. There's a 5, there's a 6, there's a 7. Beep, beep, there's a 9. Right? So I'm an old fart. I love a good bottom. And so that is what I watched. I know we're probably going to get taken down for this or kindly. So
we can't be taken down because we do it.
We run it. I no longer
because we do it all.
Right? I no longer just look at bottoms, although I must say last night Nadia did look rather good in that tie. Anyway, right. So this year they always have the disabled person, they have a disabled person blogger, they have someone off the soaps, they have CBBCs, the whole lot. So this, you like that Queen sock? Yeah, Fat Bottom Girls. I sing that to my wife.
Make the world go round.
Yeah, I sing that to Donna.
The cover of the album with the bicycle.
So this year, Ellie Simmons is dancing. Young Ellie Simmons, the Paralympian swimmer who has, I don't know what type of dwarfism it is. There's 2 types, but she's a dwarf. She's small. She makes Donna look tall. Let's just say that, right? And I think she received a lot of criticism. She did on the first week. Last week, she danced Latin. And I have to admit, I was a bit awed because her dancer, what's his name? Anyway, he was kind of leaning down doing this. And to me, it was like a bit like, but you've got to figure things out.
Dancing with your niece at a family party.
Yeah, dancing with your niece at a party. But people were a bit, how's she going to dance in hold? And it kind of upset her because there was a lot of negativity around the dwarf is the way it was being termed. Last night she danced oh God, my brain, was it a waltz? Someone tell me, who watches Strictly? Was it a waltz?
It was a waltz last night.
It was a waltz.
I've seen 30 seconds on YouTube.
And I have to say, it was bloody amazing. It was beautifully done. It was a beautiful song. It was a beautiful dance. She looked amazing. No, she's never going to get those exact shapes because, you know, she's got short limbs and a longer body. But she had that lovely, you know, where Anton says, Mick doesn't got a fucking clue what I'm on about. Yeah, don't lean too one side.
I don't know about ballroom dancing, I will admit, but I have actually I've danced professionally and I have danced at things, and I am also a patron of the Para Dance Sport UK group, and they basically do ballroom dancing, mixed and wheelchair only ballroom dancing for people that use wheelchairs. And again, it's that thing of people who are purists might go, oh, well, that doesn't look very good. But actually, when you see it, it looks amazing.
She danced, and she danced, and she got moved. The girl was moved to tears because it was so beautiful. She enjoyed every minute. Yeah. I enjoyed every minute. To the haters.
More than that, do you know what, right? It's funny because all of these things where it's like, well, this is the way you should do it, are themselves ableist because they're saying that you've got to be perfect legs and perfect arms and doing it all the way. And like everyone was going on about Rose Ailing-Ellis, is it? That's deaf. Yes. And that's a whole different thing. That's about understanding how to count and work with the music.
And yet, Giovanni, her partner, said she was the best partner he ever had because she was listening to his body.
Yeah, exactly. But also, that is someone with a body that looks like everybody else's. So her barrier was less difficult, was less easy to imagine.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you could watch them dance and forget that she was deaf, whereas you cannot forget that Ellie Simmons is a dwarf.
No, she's the first noticeably disabled.
This brought out the moaners.
The haters. Yeah.
I mean, what was her name? Is it Alison Pearson or something? That does a column in some, you know, right-wing arse rag.
Yes, I
think. And we're saying about, woke this and woke that. And apparently now having disabled people in anything is woke and it's more, you know, tokenism. And it's like, no, Ellie is a member of a community that exists.
And how much last year Rose did for the deaf community did massive amounts.
But like, why should it be that you can only dance if you can dance like everybody else?
Yeah. You imagine other young girls or boys with dwarfism looking and going, wow, I can dance.
I've always believed dance as if no one's watching. And quite frankly, if I went on that, it would be how I danced. I danced at the opening ceremony of the Paralympic Games, and the poor choreographer in the end gave up and just went, do what you like.
Did you see many years ago a form of Strictly? I think Addy was on the panel. Was it something called Strictly Wheels or something really bad?
Yeah, no, that's it.
They paired a dancer with a wheelchair user.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But we've never seen it since.
See, one of the things I hate is let's have a special show. And it's why Strictly is moving barriers. Because they're not doing a special show, Strictly with a Difference or Strictly on Wheels. They're doing Strictly, and ta-da! And I hope that next year or soon they have a wheelchair user that can do that dancing. Because I think that wheelchair ballroom is something. It's really graceful. If you get the wheels right, you glide and move, and it's really cool. And there's also the is it the Rolettes in America that are a wheelchair dance troupe that do street dance, and they're all girls. And they're all really fit, and they do all that kind of. Well, don't you think your girlfriend was hot like me? And they're really great. So another one to
never want to see that again.
No, you
but I have to say this year, I mean,
dancing is never good.
Ellie is the first noticeably, not noticeably, but disabled person. You know, we've had people who have been amputees. We had the ex-soldier who had very bad damage to his legs and his hands from a bomb IED blast in Afghanistan. Yeah. But to people, they look like a person. This is it. And then someone sees somebody who is very visibly disabled, and they're like, oh, well, how are they going to do that? It's ridiculous. So there you go. There's our little bit of glitter for the night.
It was very nice.
Welcome. And I reckon tonight, old talk about people being disabled bad. Matt Goss from, what were they called? Bros.
When will I be?
I think he has been embalmed You've never seen someone move so. My hips move better than Matt Goss's hips. He looks fake. He's just looks awkward. You wouldn't believe this man was a showman in any way, shape, or form.
I never thought that Disability Horizons TV would end up where Zec was auditioning to be on the panel of Strictly Come Dancing. I've just got to say, Matt, that my hips move better than your hips, and my hips are knackered. Sir, you need to go. 5.
5? I wouldn't have given him a 5. It was a 3.
Now, wasn't it Matt Goss that was the actor that did all the karate and stuff, that was in Blade as the super vampire?
I can't imagine him.
One of the brothers did, anyway.
The man's wooden.
Well, there you go. Maybe he may be like me, because as an actor, darling, I found dance really difficult because they go muscle memory and they talk about, did 2, 3, and you keep doing it till you get it. And there was a group of us actors that were like writing everything down. So 1, 2, 3, hands, 1, 2, 3, twist, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn, 1, 2, turn. And it was all, and they were going, what are you doing? I'm like, we're writing our lines down so we know what we're doing. You don't write it, do it. And you're like, yeah, but I can't remember it unless I've written it down and I've remembered it as words. And they're like, so that's the difference, you see. So it may be that poor old Matt's going, can I just write this? Oh, do I have to do it again? But, okay. Well, look at it this way. He won't be famous for dancing.
I think he could go tonight.
Well, you'll know because in 45 minutes it starts. So,
it will if I can get BBC, because my internet service provider's got me in Denmark or somewhere at the moment. The BBC are going, sorry, you're outside the UK, you can't stream. And I kicked my TV provider out to save money. That's turned out well.
It's BBC.
BBC. It's BBC, darling.
You've got a license, haven't you?
I have.
Right. So
but it's saying my internet...
Have you not got an aerial to watch Freeview?
No.
How old's your telly?
No, I've got a proper. My mum got me like a big 4K 50-inch panel TV.
Right, so it should have. So it'll be able to tune into an aerial. You've got.
But we haven't got an aerial.
You haven't got an aerial. You can buy one from Amazon for about 15.
How am I going to get out the fucking roof?
You stick it out the window.
Oh, it's not the 70s. Bit to the left.
Well, but you get digital aerials now that you can plug in and lean on the window and use the window to pick up.
I'll stick it out under the gap under the front door.
If anyone doesn't know what that is, go to Zec's Twitter feed and find out about his house.
I did show you my front door.
It's got a front door in name only. It's actually mostly rotten with a pane of single sheet, non-toughened glassing. So you don't need to be...
Two panes of glass. The postman can push letters under the door through the gap.
A burglar wouldn't need to break in.
No,
in fact, if anything, it's more a chance of if someone accidentally led against the door, it would actually give in completely, and then they'd be like, "Oh, well, I mean, I might as well burgle."
And because it's rotten and it hasn't got the old weatherboard, the water comes under. And a little while ago, I popped my wheels up because there's a step to get in the house. So I pop my front wheels up and I pull myself in.
Yeah.
And I can't. And my wheels have gone through the floor where it's rotten. And I'm like, now what? I'm stuck. So to throw myself forward out my wheelchair and flop on the floor and drag my chair in.
Ah, dear. We're back to accessible homes.
We're back to my home is trying to kill me.
It is. This is why we're trying to get you an accessible home. But you see, part of the reason why there isn't enough.
You're trying to get me a caravan. Don't act like you're trying to be good.
I've decided that Zec needs to become like I think that'd be a great idea. Go on, do it. Get yourself a mobile home and go on the road. It'll be brilliant. Because what you won't be doing is moving into a new block of flats that's being built in London. Right, it's costing 1.2 billion. And it's in an old building that used to be something that I can't work out what it was, but it's very posh, in Westminster. And there's going to be no social housing at all in it because the people building it have given Westminster Council £10 million to build some social housing. So out of 1.2 billion that they're spending on it, they've given them 10 million. Now, we know from our discussion around the maths of billions, that that's a bit like giving someone a penny out of your pocket when you've just made 100 grand.
Yeah, so, but the council just going to pocket it. Now, Avril said, could they have filmed The Money Pit in your home? I laughed so much. I still love that film. Like with the bath and he's pouring the water in and it just falls through the floor, or where he's stuck in the rug in the floor. I love that film.
I actually have lived in places like that. We nearly bought a place in Margate, and one of the things that it all fell through, and it's heartbreaking because we spent.
Yeah, mine fell through.
was we were worried because we moved into a place in Camden that had all that wooden floor, that like laminate. Yeah. And underneath it, we didn't realise that all the floorboards had gone rotten. So I just fell through it, just like you did when I tried to wheel over certain areas. And this place had the same, and we were like, "If we wheel, is this going to be a money pit?" Because there were two, stained glass windows on the side of the building, or in the bedroom, and they'd just gone, it's a bit cold. So they'd filled them up with plasterboard and then wallpapered over them. So you went outside and went, "Oh, they're lovely." And you went inside and went, "Where are those windows?" And then you realised when you went back outside and looked through the window that they hadn't insulated it. They just basically left the window. And then at the end of the window, they just plasterboard and they just got that too. So, yeah. So I know what you mean. But yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? The idea that someone can spend 1.2 billion on building flats for rich people and give you 10 million for social housing, but not near our people. Rich people don't want to live near.
I mean, hang on. What is that percentage that what does that percentage work out as?
Well, let's see. We know that
anyone clever?
We know that a million is a thousandth of a billion.
Yeah.
Right. So
this is 100th of a million.
So it's a
billion.
So it's let's think. It would be 1.2 billion, 10 million. It would be under 100th of what.
Not even 10% of their bloody.
No, exactly. It's not like they said, "I'll tell you what, it's going to cost us 12 billion and 120 million."
No, it's loose change, isn't it, on a project like that?
It is loose change. And this is the problem when people we talk about billions now and we don't really know what they're talking about, as we proved last year for last time when we did the maths, and it was like you could if you had a penny for every minute of the day, to get a billion would take you 1,092 years.
Yeah. And I don't think it's about figures. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about, people won't buy if there's social housing. With friends, someone posted a letter. We got an area off over that way to us called Thorpe Bay. It's not actually a postal code, but it's Thorpe Bay. It's in between Shoeburyness and South Church, and it's
I know.
Bit. You can tell all the streets are cleaned, all the councillors live around there. It's lovely. Someone posted a letter that had come through their door, and basically this old woman said it's disgusting. They've got a work van on their driveway. They're letting the neighbourhood down. Yeah, they dared to put their work vehicle that they use to make a living on their driveway. That's what you're up against. That's that kind of people.
Oh, I mean, the thing is, I don't think that there should be flats that cost that much. I don't get it. But if you're going to have them, it's very unlikely that someone's going to go, "Oh yeah, we don't mind that, next door we've got this family on benefits," despite the fact they should be. But the point is, if you're going to give it, at least give a fair amount. £10 million in London is not, in Westminster, is really not going to buy you the land to build a block of flats on.
I have heard that these flats, one of these flats will cost you £1 million, or in American dollars, that's $50.
Yeah. Do you know what I've tried so hard this week not to talk about anything to do with politics like that. Because to me, it has been a week of, I don't think the Muppets could have done it worse.
Boris is laughing. They were like, there will never be a prime minister as bad as Boris. Jeez.
I actually think that she went, "Oh yeah, hold my beer."
Yeah.
You can see it now. The part. You what? Oh, perhaps. But you see, the thing is, I wonder, let's get political. I do wonder if what they've done is they've said, well, it's all really screwed. So why don't we make ourselves unelectable for at least one term, so that then we can go, look at the terrible things Labour have done when they come in, and for the next 5 years, it's a disaster.
Well, I've said today,
I reckon what they did with Blair. I reckon
I likened it.
Go forget it. And Blair came in And it was like, oh, this is all going to fail. And then he did loads of stuff, and it wasn't as much of a mess up. So then they did the banking crisis. And then, let's see if we can get all the governments of the world to give bankers billions and billions and billions of pounds, trillions of pounds, and not charge them any interest on a loan to the banks who charge us all interest on our loans. So it's genius. It's genius.
I mean, at the moment, I likened it on. I said it's a bit like they've set fire to the house, and what they're doing is just trying to get as many valuables out of that house now as they can before it completely falls apart. I mean, they've said that quasi-quinten, is that right?
I can't say it.
Quasi-quinten. It's not one for Jonathan Ross, right? Yeah. That he met with these private hedge fund people, and basically for a champagne lunch may have given them the tip off so they could have bet against the pound. Look, for balance, we have to say we've slagged off the Tories and we've mentioned them a lot. So for balance, we have to say Labour. Right. So we're almost at the end of the show.
Yeah. And we've had quite a good little chat. We talked about gardens. Not bad for a show when we didn't know what we're talking about. We aren't going to be here next time, are we? Because you've got a special event going on.
I am at Simchat Torah at the synagogue. I've just undone a pocket. I thought it's those accessible jogging bottoms, and I've just got my cock out. It's but luckily, I'm like,
it's off camera.
I was going to put my hand in my pocket and remembered that. Anyway,
what you don't want to do is suddenly have something sort of do.
I'm at the synagogue. We're celebrating getting to the end of the Torah scroll, and they're going to dance around the scrolls. They're going to get drunk, and then they're going to roll it all back to the beginning and have a read of the first one. That's basically it.
Right.
Yeah, sounds.
So we're not doing that. But boy, do we have some guests for you after that? On our Halloween show, October the 30th.
I'm not doing that again.
Well, you see, you've got to remember that last time it was our Halloween show, I got a guest that was a good mate of mine on. And how well did that go?
Yeah. And I glued a zip to my face and couldn't put my glasses on all night and my eyes were watering.
So this time we have someone I not only am very lucky to have known and to have worked with, but someone who actually was one of the first people I saw on television with who was disabled. And someone who I have had a great admiration for many years.
Stephen Hawking?
No. I've met Stephen Hawking, but actually I met his pit crew and kind of tried to talk to him, but he was too quick.
Pit crew?
He's... Right, at the Paralympic Games, I'll tell you all who it is in a minute, because this way we're filling time.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Right. So at the Paralympic Games, obviously Stephen Hawking was there doing his bit about the stars and stuff. And he doesn't have, he has an entourage, but it's made up of different groups. So he has the Brainiac entourage, all of his science mates, so that if he comes up with an idea, they write it down, and they're all and you can tell they all look a bit like Richard O'Ardy or whatever his name is. So they all look a bit like him. Then you've got the technical people that keep him alive, like his nursing team. Yeah. And then you've got the technical people that keep his chair working. So he genuinely he used to have a pit crew. And so if anything broke, they could fix it. And all his oxygen was being done and his nursing care was being done. And then he'd have an idea and they'd go. And then he got security. So it's like, wow. So you couldn't get near him. But this guy that's coming on October the 30th is Nabil Shaban. Now, if you don't know who Nabil Shaban is, Nabil Shaban was the first disabled actor to appear in Doctor Who. He played the monstrous Syl, an evil person. And ever since then, part of Nabil's personality has been to recreate Nabil and recreate Syl. And if you go on any of his YouTube, you can see that he does lots of talking about Syl. He's got a new book out about Eric the Boneless, who was
Ivor the Boneless.
Is it Ivor or Eric?
Ivor the Boneless.
Ivor or Eric. I quite like Eric the Boneless. It's just...
we go with that. Nabil will correct you.
Yeah, he'll tell us off. Which was a Viking leader who had brittle bones like Nabil. And Nabil was very much like me, talking about the disabled people in history that we've forgotten. And obviously he's always wanted to make a film of this character played by him.
They featured him in Vikings, the series. He was Ivor the Boneless featured prominently on that.
Yes, well, that's he's got a whole book about it coming out soon, so he's coming on. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got the wonderful Fuchsia, who is one of my great mates on Twitter, who is working within the banking industry, to make all of industry more inclusive. And she's a great fan, great friend, a great person all round, a right laugh. And so she'll be coming on to talk about work and stuff and her career and life. And she dresses in sort of Jane Austen style all the while, and it's great. And she's got a great love of Rome. So we'll talk about Rome and how accessible it is, because I've been to Rome and I wouldn't have thought wheelchair accessibility was its top claim to fame. But there we go. So that's what we've got lined up for you. So this will be the last week for a good month and a bit where we are as anarchic as we have been. From normal professional service will be resumed in 4 weeks' time.
Yeah. And I will be a totally different person. On the 25th, I'm in London. I will come back, even though I've been involved in this all the time, I'll actually be in front of the rabbis, and I dunked in the mikveh, which isn't accessible. I've got to bum shuffle up and plop myself into the mikveh. And I've said I'd do it, and they're like, we can do it in the swimming pool. I'm like, nah, go for it. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
I'll be a Jew.
It'll be great. It'll be wonderful.
That might lose us a few followers.
I was going to say, when we do, it might be a bit tricky with Nabil, because obviously he's a huge supporter of Palestine, being a Palestinian. So it may be an interesting show. We'll just avoid that topic entirely.
Look, it's a fucking mess. That's all you can say.
It's Ivar. So we're both wrong. It's not Ivor or Eric. It's Ivar.
No, Ivor was an engine.
Ivor is the engine.
Ivor the engine. Okay,
I used to love the engine. Anyway, so that's what we've got lined up for you folks. So I think we've done very well, Zec.
We have.
We've done 46 minutes
without a topic
of kind of sensible waffle.
Yeah, because Mick watched a garden program as we were coming on air.
Like I said, I thought we'd go for the loose women approach, and I think we've achieved it quite well. We haven't actually had a massive row about anything, which is obviously why we are not in the Daily Mirror talking about something that happened on DHTV. That'll happen. That was the episode where we had Spike on. That should have been in the Daily Mirror.
Maybe we need to have a big old Barney, something really like just go. Doesn't matter how bad it is. They say no news is bad news or no good news. Yeah.
Yes, we'll do that. Probably. Look at this way. If we didn't end up rowing when Spike was on the show,
we do it with Nabil. I'll bring.
What we'll do is I'll say the subject and then I'll just back away.
Yeah. Hi, Nabil.
The great thing is, right now I'm doing the presenting from my sofa. Right, I've got my workstation set up on a portable trolley, so I can do this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm here on my sofa, and I'm doing frocks on the box.
Frocks?
No one knows what I'm talking about unless you watched fashion television in the 80s. We were going so well, and it's just lost itself now, hasn't it?
I think that's because I need to hit that button, because I think we maybe go, right, thank you, everybody, for watching this complete and utter moan fest. But, we've discussed some good points. I'm going to go and watch the Strictly results.
Cool. I'm not.
No. Mick's going to sit there. Well, he's not. He's going to go out looking for his parcel now. If you see Mick laid in the gutter in pain somewhere in Camden, can you help him find his parcels and get him back home?
Yes. Right then, folks.
Goodbye.
See you on October the 30th, 6 p.m. live with Bill Shaban, author, actor, and general all-round pervo. So see you soon.
Pervo? Did that end?
No.
No.
Keep going.